Hey guys, what's going on? We haven't done a tutorial in quite a long time, and since color grading is probably my favorite part about editing, I think it's time to do a quick color grading tutorial. So you can go from this to this in less than 30 seconds, and I'll show you how. My name's Damien Cooper, and welcome to Monkey Pixels.
We've got some fresh new young talent doing some things that I know you haven't heard before.
1, 2, 3, listen.
So, as I already said, this is going to be a quick color grading tutorial, and the emphasis definitely is on quick, since I won't be using more than 30 seconds on each clip. And honestly, this is what I do for grading footage most of the time. 90% of the time, even if it's commercial work with a quick turnaround or for our own YouTube channel, I hardly spend more than 30 to 60 seconds on each clip when color grading. Obviously, when there's a higher paid budget and I have more time, then I will definitely fine-tune most of our settings when it comes to the color grading part, but when it's just our day-to-day business, our YouTube channel and quick turnarounds, this is how I color grade the footage. And I'll be doing this within Final Cut Pro 10, but honestly you can do this in Premiere Pro, you can do this in DaVinci and probably a lot of other editors that have two tools that you need. And I'll show you the two tools that are necessary to color grade within 30 seconds. So let's jump right into Final Cut and I'll show you what you will need. So the first thing you need, and you'll find this in pretty much any editor these days, is the color wheels tab. And this is pretty much all you need to do a full color correction as well as a color grade. And the second thing you need for the color grading part to make it easier and quicker is a custom Lut Loader. And these look different in different editors. For example, in Final Cut, it's under the Effects tab and you actually have to drag and drop it onto your footage. In Premiere Pro, it's under the Lumetri tab, right where your color wheels are, so you don't even have to use an additional effect for it. And I'm not 100% sure how it works in DaVinci because I never used it, but I'm 100% sure you can use custom LUTs in DaVinci as well. And the next thing you need, and this isn't really a tool or an effect, is an Rgb Parade. And I'm using this one. I'm also using a vector scope, but you don't really need it for this kind of grading. The only thing you really need is an Rgb Parade, and I'll show you why in a second. So if you're ready, so let's start and see how we can grade this footage within 30 seconds with the tools I've just shown you. So the first thing we do is we take a point in our footage that we actually like as a reference to color grading. This one is shot in RAW on the C200 in C-Log 3 from a music video we shot in LA about a year ago, and I'll show you how to get it done. And let's start. The first thing we do is we drag down the shadows, then we pull up the highlights to 100, we add a little bit of saturation in there, we lower the color temperature by a tiny bit, then we add the custom LUT and we choose one from our kind of LUT pack. Let's take the custom C200 pack, and there you go. This is what we've done within 30 seconds. We went from this gray looking footage to this color graded footage within 30 seconds by just using these two tools. Not bad for 30 seconds, right? So let's take another clip and show you how it's done again. So our second shot is also shot on the C200, but this time in MP4. We didn't shoot this in RAW. This is also C-Log 3. And let's do the same techniques again and see how this actually looks after. So let's start. Pull down the shadows to roughly 0, then bring back the highlights to roughly 100 and lower the color temperature just by a tiny bit, add a little bit of saturation, add the custom LUT pack, and this time we choose the Jumanji LUT because I really like this, but this is way too much, so just a tiny bit of this, and there you go again. Less than 30 seconds, and we went from this to this within 30 seconds. Let's play it back. This is what it looks like, and this is actually not too bad for just using it 30 seconds. So let's show you another example with a different camera. This one was shot with the Canon EOS R in C-Log. It's one of our shots from Model Shoot Monday with the model Veronica, and let's do the same color grading techniques we've just done before and start. Bring down the shadows to roughly 0, then bring up the highlights. I think this one could go for a little less color temperature, add the custom LUT, And let's take one from our Canon LUT pack again. Let's take the Bluebird this time. This is way too much, just adjust it a little bit, and there we go. That's pretty much it. If we had a little bit more time, we could bring up the midtones just a little bit, and there you have it. Same techniques, less than 30 seconds, and we went from this gray looking footage to this footage within less than 30 seconds. Let's play it back. Looks pretty decent to me if you ask me. But I know what you're thinking. A lot of you guys will already say, hey, Canon has such great color science, so you don't really have to do this, but what about other cameras? So let's take another clip from a drone that we actually shot in Abu Dhabi as well and see if the same technique works. Let's take a reference point. This one is shot on the DJI Mavic Pro 2, I think in D-Log, and this was in Abu Dhabi as well. And let's use the same color techniques we've used before. So let's start. Bring down the shadows, bring up the highlights, and this time we're going to use the color temperature a little less again, then add a custom LUT. And this one we're using one from our Mavic LUT pack, and adjust it just a tiny bit. And again, here we go, from this to this in just a couple seconds. Let's play it back. I really like the results. Again, if you spend more time on this, and it doesn't even have to be like 2 to 3 minutes, but only a couple seconds longer, you can really fine tune it. And the good thing about this technique is you don't need to do this for every clip. You can just copy and paste it onto the next clip that has a similar scene, was shot on the same day, on the same night. Obviously, it helps a lot if you dial in your settings when shooting right. So if you have the right color temperature, the right exposure, that obviously goes a long way to edit quickly in your editor afterwards, because you don't have to change too much settings. So last but not least, we have another one. This one was shot on the Sony a7 III in HLG, and this one obviously comes right out of the camera looking like it's already almost graded, so we don't even have to do that much like we've done on the log profiles. So let's see what this footage looks like after 30 seconds. Again, we've been choosing a reference point, and let's start. Just bring the shadows down a tiny bit, maybe the midtones up just a little bit, and then add a custom LUT. We have a custom LUT pack for HLG Sony LUTs as well. Let's use Bluebird again. Again, way too much. Adjust it by a little bit, like so. Maybe go back to the color wheels, bring up the midtones again, down the shadows, and there we go. From this to this. It's not a huge difference, because honestly HLG footage doesn't have too much you can do to it afterwards, because it already comes out of the camera really saturated. But if you want to give it a little bit more of a punch and a pop, this is obviously a technique that only takes a couple seconds. And we went from this to this within a couple seconds. And there you have it. So obviously we used our custom LUT packs that are specifically designed for different cameras like the C200, any Canon camera, the DJI drones or Sony cameras, and that obviously makes it a lot easier. But if you already have custom LUTs you like for grading your footage, you can use them as well, or maybe just purchase our one. They're actually currently on sale on our website. And if you don't want to use any LUTs, that's also fine, but it will definitely take you a longer time to get the same results. If you're interested in a full tutorial on how to do a color grading without LUTs, drop a comment below and maybe we can make this happen. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial about color grading, and if you did, I hope you already subscribed to our channel. If not, now is a good chance. And if you liked the video, don't forget to press the like button, and I'll see you on the next one.